All right.
Okay,
It
so
is the floor is yours.
thank you. And we can just bow our heads for a moment. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity of having Miss Felicia Ford share all the updates and all the new information with the Quizizz platform. We are truly blessed that the Quizizz team granted our school district a free 3-month pilot. We appreciate that. We're just trying to grow the utilization and the integration of technology in our classrooms. We want to make learning engaging for our kids. We want our kids to have fun and learning. And we feel that Quizizz is a platform that can create that in our district. Um, Everything else, thank you for all the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. And let's have a great training session today. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, you all, let's go ahead and get started. Let me introduce myself. Once again, I am Felicia Ford. I will be your facilitator for this afternoon, and I am going to paste in the chat. Please introduce yourself. Tell me your name, your role, and what's one thing that you're excited about or looking forward to in 2024. I can't believe the new year is already upon us. So one thing I want to share with you, you have the option of how you want to do this. I am going to ask you to log into two different Quizizz activities. I have the Quizizz quiz, which is what you're going to actually take a 21 question quiz. This is a part of our boot camp. We're running a live boot camp for you. And at the end, you will get your Quizizz School Educator Level 1 badge. We're hoping that you pass this quiz with the rate or accuracy of 70%. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start this live quiz and I'm going to classic mode. And within classic mode, let me just showing you some of the background of what I'm doing. I'm going to enable Name Factory because I'm going to actually display the leaderboard as we're going through this. I want to make sure. So let me go ahead and start. One thing about any live activity, there is always a waiting room. And of course, with the waiting room, you can tell how many students or participants have joined that particular activity. This is a great way for your teachers to know which students in their classroom is on track or engaged in what's taking place. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you to join the quiz. You will be in the waiting room. And the thing about a live activity, there is a waiting room and the teacher has to actually start that activity. And you'll notice that once you join in, you won't see anything. You're just gonna, you won't even have to give your name because Quizizz is going to give you a Quizizz enabled name of Name Factory. And I see we have Blueberry Dolores has already joined and Lemon Lorax. And you may be wondering, what are these funny names? These are our Name Factory names. And I can tell that we have two participants that have already joined the quiz. One thing about the Name Factory names, when you get to the reports window, the teacher can see who the actual students are because it will list, if they're logged into Quizizz, it will tell them, the teacher, the real name as well as the Quizizz Name Factory name. And so you would definitely need to complete this quiz in order to get your badge. So hopefully others will join. I'll drop the link in the chat again. On my other tab, this is the actual lesson that I'm going to run. I'm going to run a live Quizizz lesson. This is where I will be doing my demo. And you have the option to either join this live lesson, and if you do, you'll see it as your students would on your device. I'll share this code as well, share this link. Or you could just watch the Zoom screen. Totally up to you because you'll be able to see me demo either way. So totally up to you if you want to watch, actually join the live lesson, or if you just want to watch on the screen. If you join the live lesson, you will be able to see some of the resources real time that I share. You also will be able to see real time some of the demos that I'm doing. So I see we have one participant in the live lesson. Once again, I want to make sure that everyone who wants to join the quiz has had the opportunity to join the quiz before we get started, because I don't want to leave anyone behind. And you can always unmute since we are a small, intimate group if you need me to pause or do anything. Okay, Daisy, no problems. I appreciate that. All right, we definitely don't want you trying to join. Be safe. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the live lesson. So this is a Quizizz School Educator Level 1 boot camp for the Vanguard Academy. We are so excited to have you all join in the Quizizz family. So the first question I have for you all is, how familiar are you with Quizizz? And this is running as an open-ended question. And if you join the live lesson, you will definitely see this question on your screen. If you didn't join the lesson, you can definitely post in the chat. How familiar are you with Quizizz? And we can look at the full question. Some of you may be a pro at Quizizz, you use it all the time. Some of you may be new to Quizizz, you've used it a few times, or some of you may be even like, Felisa, what are you talking about? What is this Quizizz? So we just want to see what your comfort level is with Quizizz, or how familiar you are with Quizizz. And let's see what we say. So we have a combination of people that have used Quizizz a few times or have heard of Quizizz but never used it. And Daisy said, not a pro. Daisy, I want you to be careful. You do not have to type in the chat. You can just listen. So hopefully by the end of this session, you will feel comfortable enough to use Quizizz tomorrow in your classroom. So let me tell you a little bit about me. As I said, I am Felisa Ford. I was a 6th through 12th social studies, certified teacher, but my background was always high school. I was a social studies teacher. I was an assistant principal at my school. And then when I transitioned to the district office, I was a K-12 social studies coordinator. And my last 12 years, I was a digital learning specialist. And you may be trying to figure out how many years, y'all. I just recently retired after 30 years in public education. I am an ed tech enthusiast, and 2022, I was named a Time Innovative Educator for some work that I did with Minecraft. So that's just a little bit about me. And I know some of you have shared in the chat about you. I know we have some Spanish teachers. Miss Montoya is a 2nd grade teacher. And then we have instructional coaches on the call. So you all are, if you are not sure how you set this space up, if you have 2 devices, you can look at the Zoom screen on one and you can view the Quizizz screen on another. If you have 1 device, you can always split your screen so that you are looking at the Zoom screen on one and the Quizizz screen on the other half. So totally up to you as to what works best for you. All right, so let's keep rolling. So just the layout of the format of this boot camp, and these are some session norms. There are going to be 8 sections in this boot camp. There are a total of 21 questions on the quiz. And I'm going to do a brief demo or explanation or discussion for each section, and then I'll release you to answer the questions for that particular section only. And some of you may be able to zoom through, but I'm going to ask you to only complete the questions for that particular section. I know that sometimes you're going to be so excited that you're going to want to just zoom through the quiz, but I ask that you please, let's work together and kind of flow together as a group so that we can finish in the end together. So this is our flow for this session. We're going to start with an overview. There will be the first 6 questions. We'll cover that overview, and you can read the screen. We're going to talk about AI in section 2. Then we're just going to talk about the Quizizz platform, and I'm going to demo all of this, and then I'm going to show you how to create a lesson. And one thing I want you to remember with Quizizz, there are 4 simple steps for you to create a lesson and host a lesson and do all of that. And the first step is starting with search. The second step is you actually creating. The third step is you hosting the lesson. And then finally, we end with reports. So this kind of takes us through that process. So let's go ahead and get started. The first section is dealing with just an overview of Quizizz. What is Quizizz? So let's look at this purple create button. So this is when you come to the Quizizz landing page. Your Quizizz may look like this. If you enable your name or click on your name, or even come down here and select profile, you can always edit your profile. And I'm showing you this because it's good for you to select your grade level and your subject because quizzes will make recommendations for you based on the subject that you choose. So if we have any English teachers on the call, or if any English teachers watch this video, I want to show you what happens when I select English. I'm going to save these changes. And when I go back to my home screen, it's going to look a little different. So it's giving me recommendations for different categories that support English teachers, whether it's reading skills, grammar, vocabulary, or literature, or even reading comprehension. So I just wanted to call that out. So that's only, you're only going to see that if you choose English as a part of your subject. So I'm going to remove that so that I can see my typical page. So with my typical page, I'm seeing like the AI and all of that. But going back to the purple create button, there are two types of activities in Quizizz. We have the Quizizz quiz and the Quizizz lesson. So let's talk about the Quizizz quiz, looking at some of the question types, because let's say you never have to create from scratch, but if you choose to, we have some questions that you can use. We have over 15 different question types that teachers can use. We have anywhere from your basic multiple choice type questions all the way up to comprehension questions. And I want to call out all of these different questions that we have available, from reorder, where it's asking students to reorder content, or drag and drop. We know that these are some of the question types that students experience on their high stakes tests, or those state mandated tests. We also have math response questions where students can respond in a mathematical expression or equation or any of that. We have the hotspot, where we ask students to pick out the correct answer on an image or a graph. We even have basic fill in the blank or matching the drop down, or even labeling, where we want students to label an image or label the parts of speech. And for our math or physics or any of that, we have graphing that's available. And then our two newest question types are categorized and comprehension. So anything in green, these are our assessment type questions. These questions are auto graded, which means that the teacher selects the correct answer, and then Quizizz will grade that question for you. So that saves time. If you come on down, we have our higher order thinking questions. These are those question types that are asking students to really demonstrate what they know. This is getting to that higher level of DOK, or where students, that higher cognitive ability, where students are having to do something, whether it's draw. We have our draw type questions, open-ended, where students could maybe give supporting evidence to an opinion that they have, or if they're doing something in English where they have to cite evidence, they could do that in an open-ended type question. We have video response questions where students could act out or recite a poem or act out a scene in a play. And then we have the audio response, where students could record themselves, even students could record themselves reading, depending on the grade level. And these are flexible graded questions, anything in purple, which means that the teacher has to actually grade these particular questions. And then finally, we have some ungraded question types, such as our poll questions, or word cloud, or even slides. And a slide just turns any quiz into a lesson. So these are just some of the things in an intro to Quizizz. So let me go over here, and I'm going to start the live lesson. And I want you to answer the first 6 questions in this quiz. So once you get to question 6, I want you to pause, and then we'll move on to section 2. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat again to the quiz, just in case someone else wants to join the quiz. Now remember, when you get to question 6, after you answer question 6, and which is what are the names of the 2 newest quizzes question types, answer that one, and then I want you to pause. And so I'm going to give you maybe another minute or so, and we'll move on to the next section. All right, so I see that some people have moved on to question 7. Let's go ahead and go to section 2. I'm going back to the lesson. Section 2 is all about AI. And I know that that's what a lot of you came here for, the AI. You want to see all that's happening in AI. So let me go back home and I'm going to show you AI in quizzes. If you notice on my home screen, you see all of the different AI prompts that are available. Create with YouTube, import from Google Slides, or import from Drive, custom prompt. But I'm going to start with the purple create button because I want you to see where the AI is. And I'm selecting quizzes. I want you to know we used to have the AI lesson. They put that on the shelf. It's coming back out, hopefully in time for back to school. I'm going to show you AI in quizzes. There are 3 different ways that you can utilize AI and have it create a quiz for you. You can have it generate a quiz from a text or a prompt where you either paste a prompt, type a prompt, and AI will do the work. You can upload a document. You can upload a PowerPoint. You can upload a PDF or a document, and AI can create a quiz based on that document. Or you can just utilize a URL, say a YouTube video or Wikipedia page, or actually any page from a website, as long as that page is not hidden behind a login or it's something like that. So let's go with convert URL to quiz. So I already pulled up a read aloud book. I'm just going to copy this, and let me pause this. I'm just going to copy the URL from this YouTube video, and YouTube may be blocked in your district. I'm just showing you this as an example. I'm just going to paste the link. And one thing you'll notice, you have the option to tell Quizizz how many questions you want this quiz to have. I'm just going to select 5. You also have the option with a video or a passage. You can have it include the video. So I'm going to have it insert the video as a part of the quiz so that students can refer back to the video. And I'm going to say generate questions with video. Laura, I see you like that, right? A game changer and a time saver for our teachers. And imagine all the different resources and the websites that we have students go to. And look, just like that, it included the video. And this is about a dinosaur who discovered hamburgers. It's asking questions from the video and all of this just from the video. So that's one way. I'm going to show you from a web page. Looking at this, I just pulled up History for Kids, Understanding Ancient Egypt. So let me copy this link. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do the URL. I'm going to show you a different way. From a web page, we also have a Google Chrome extension. Just download it from the Google Play Chrome store. So here it is here. You can turn any web page, have it converted to a quiz, any web page that you're teaching from. So let me have it, click on the Chrome extension. You can tell it to generate passage plus questions or just generate the quiz. I'm going to do generate passage plus questions just in case students want to refer back to the passage. They can go back and try to pull information out of the passage. So it typically only takes a few seconds. This one may have had a lot. If it takes a little longer, then I'm gonna move on. But just know that it can pull all of, I really wanted you to see it, but if not, we're gonna move on because we have to get through the quiz. The extension is just Quizizz AI. That's the name of the extension. So that's taking a little long and I don't want to waste your time. So what I want you to do now is go ahead and answer question 7. Answer question 7 on the quiz. And it says AI is still generating my questions. But I'm going to move on. So you all go ahead and answer question 7, and then we'll move on to section 3. But I want you all to practice and play with all of these features I show you today. Do that tomorrow, and you will be amazed at how you can really have students connect with whatever you're teaching, whatever resources you're sharing on the web, and have it instantly generate those quizzes for you. All right, and so once you answer question 7, I want you to pause. Let's move on to section 3. Section 3 is all about the Quizizz platform. So let me go back home. And this time I'm going to just show you some of the layout for the Quizizz platform. The first thing I'm going to show you is my library. My library is exactly what it sounds like. It's everything that has been created and hosted by you, shared with you, or if you've tagged something or liked by you, that's going to live here. So you'll be able to find all of your resources. Because you all have access to a district, school or district account via your pilot, you will also have access to My District. And the beauty of My District, it allows you to see lessons and quizzes that have been created by other educators in Vanguard Academy. So you can see and you can collaborate and share, and you can reuse or repurpose someone's activity, or you can go to the Quizizz library. And the Quizizz library is resources shared and created by millions of educators. So I just wanted to call that out with the different libraries. Also under My Library, there are ways that you can collaborate in quizzes. You can collaborate by creating teams, and with teams you can have grade level teams, you can have subject level teams, and the beauty of a team is it allows you to have create a repository of information, activities, lessons, where everyone on that team can collaborate and co-collaborate and create quizzes. You can have your students play those quizzes or take those tests, and you can create common formative assessments. So all you do is give your team a name, and I'll just call this 9th grade lit team. Once you create it, you can copy the link and share it with others to join, or you can just type in their name and just select their name and just have them join. And once you've done that, once you select done, then you can begin to add content to your team. So this is a great way for the 9th grade team to collaborate on all of their Quizizz resources. Another feature that's available is collections. Collections is a great way for you to organize quizzes. You can organize your Unit 1 activities, your quizzes, your Unit 1 lessons. And you can also make this public or private. You would just give your collection a name. We may want to call this 9th grade lit Unit 1. And when you're done, I already have a collection name that I'll call it Unit 2. Then once you begin to find resources and quizzes, you can just share it or save it to this particular collection. So think of this as your digital filing cabinet or your digital folder. So that's collection. What else do I want to show you? I'm going to show you how you can research or search for different activities. I'm on the Explore tab. And say, for instance, I want to find something on ancient Egypt. I'm just searching in the Explore tab, and I have over 204,000 results. So too many for me to go through. So what I'm going to do is filter. I can filter by the number of questions. I can filter by the activity type, whether I'm going to filter for quizzes only, and I can filter by grade. So I'm just going to filter by maybe 6th grade. And let's see what comes up. And you can filter by states. So now it's dropped down. And the more you filter, the more it's going to drop down. So what I want you to see is all of these quizzes, I can use all or a few questions. So I have the option to use all of the questions on this quiz that was created by someone, or I could just add a couple of questions from this quiz. I could come over and use this quiz. Let me go back. I can come over, and when you hover over it, it pops over to the right, and I can add this one. So then you'll see this purple button. This is called teleport. What I just did was teleport a quiz, which means I just borrowed questions from other people's quizzes so that I can make my own. So what I can do from this point, I can open this in the editor to finish working on it, refining it to make it mine, or I can save it. So I'm going to select open in editor. Another thing, I'm going to select open in editor. And here I can begin to edit the quiz. Before I show you this editing, I want to show you one other feature of what we can do to collaborate. We have classes here. You can add classes. So in classes, you can add a co-teacher. And you do that by selecting classes, selecting on a class you create, and you have the option to add a co-teacher. So now I want you to answer questions 8 through 10. So go back to the quiz and answer questions 8 through 10. Once you answer question 10, I want you to pause. And I'll give you maybe 2 more minutes to answer questions 8 through 10. You probably won't need that much time, so maybe a minute and a half. All right. So we have about 30 seconds, and we're moving on to section 4. All right, so moving on to section 4. Section 4 is all about creating a lesson or a quiz. I showed you initially how to search for something and use a quick teleport. Now I'm going to show you how to actually create a lesson if you wanted to create one from scratch. So just looking at the lesson, I went to the purple create button, selecting on lesson. I have the option, you can import your slides if you use Google. You can upload your slides here and have it create there, or you can create a new slide. So I'm just gonna create a new slide. It works pretty much the same way. Once I select new slide, then I have these different pages or templates that I can use, layouts for the slides. I'm just gonna select this slide here. And then you just begin to add your content to the slide. You can format the slide however you want to. We have basic formatting. You can change the color of the text, just your typical formatting. You can also add symbols. So if you want to make it fun, you can add emoji symbols, math symbols, a lot of different things that you can do right here in your slides to make it relevant for your students. Let me add a new slide so that you can see. You can also add questions to any of our questions can be added to a lesson. And this is a way that you can make the lesson engaging. You can check for understanding throughout the lesson. You can add any of the lesson types question types that we have right into a lesson. You can also teleport right here from a lesson. As you're creating a lesson, you can go in and do your search and pull in other people's slides into your slides. Just like I showed you teleporting with the quizzes, you can do this right from the lessons. Let me select a blank slide and show you some of the media type you can add. You can add an image, either upload it or search right here. You never have to leave out of the quizzes editing page. You can search for it. Search for Egypt. And it's doing a Google safe search. So you don't have to worry about the images that pop up. So I can save this image right onto my slide. I can also come in and add a video if I want to. And it's pulling from YouTube, or you can upload your video. So we can do this too. All right, so we'll do this one. And then you can trim the video. You don't have to use a 25-minute video in your lesson. You can just trim it and use the part that you want. You insert that, right? And so when the students are looking at your lesson, they can just play the video right on their slide. And then, of course, you can customize and do whatever you want, add different layouts for it. So this is with creating a lesson. Then let me show you with creating. Let me add a actual question because I want to show you. I'll do a fill in the blank. Where are the Sphinx? So with the fill in the blank, you have the option of, you can have separate boxes, or you can have it as a single field. The separate boxes kind of give students a hint as to the correct answer. You can also have students show their work, but I just want to show you what else you can do as you are, I don't know why this is not pulling up. You could type the correct answer down at the bottom. You also can add an answer explanation to any question. And this is a great idea because you want to give students support. If they miss the question, you want them to know why they missed the question. So you could add a video, you can record a message, or you can add an image, or you could just type in an explanation, and then you would just save that and it would be added to that particular question. So let me go back to home. You can also tag, you can also, when you're creating your quiz, you can tag your state standards to any quiz. I'm just going to select multiple choice. Right here, when you're creating your quiz, you can tag your state standards to any quiz. And the beauty of doing that is it allows you to see how students are progressing towards mastering those standards for your particular area. And you would select the subject, and we'll just maybe say math. And then you select the grade level, and we'll say 4th grade. And once the standards pop up, you can tag that standard to that particular question, and you would just save it. So that's, now that we've gone through that, I want you to answer questions 11 through 13. You have about, I'll give you 3 minutes to answer questions 11 through 13. See, some of you have already, like, you couldn't wait. Some of you have already completed the quiz, which is fine. So you have 3 minutes, and we'll go through the other sections. And so since you have gone through it and we have about 15 minutes, I'm going to just go through demoing the rest of it. You can continue watching, because I think some of you have already finished. So I just want to make sure that I demo for recording purposes. So going back to the lesson, we're moving on to section 5, which is all about the LMS. I'm going to go back to my home screen. With Quizizz, we integrate with different LMSs, and the way you get to your LMS, you select classes, and here you can import a new class from your LMS, whether if you use Google Classroom, Schoology, or Canvas. If you don't use any of these, you can always create a Quizizz class. And if you create a Google Classroom, it's going to prompt you to bring in the different Google Classrooms that you may have set up. And you do this pretty much the same way for some of the others, but we have information that shows you and walks you through bringing that information in or bringing those classes in. So you could pull in your classes. If you create a Quizizz class, you would just type in the name of the class and we'll just say period 4. Create the class. You can change the color code of the class so that you can keep it organized. You all, my computer is starting to move slow. So we have that. And once you have your class available, then you don't have to, Quizizz brings in everything for you, your rosters and all of that. You can come in and you can manage your class rosters. You can refresh so that any new student that's added will automatically be added here. And the grades pass back between Quizizz and your LMS. So whatever grade they get in Quizizz, they will get that grade in their in your LMS. So I just wanted to call that out as well. Let's see, what else with, let me show you something else that's beneficial with having an LMS. When you go to assign an activity to your class, and let me go to my library and just pull up an activity. I'll pull up this Ancient Egypt quiz. If I want to assign this activity to my class, I can assign it here. I will go here and assign to class. And when I select that, this is available for anything that you assign, whether it's live or asynchronous. You can assign it to a class and you would just select the class you want to assign it to, select next, and then you can select the editing, the default grading, and all of that, and then just save it. And it will tell you that it's been assigned to that particular class right here. All right, so we have that. So you can go ahead and answer questions 14 through 15 if you haven't already done so. I think the majority of you have already zoomed through and have finished. So I'm going to continue with just demonstrating what else is available. So let me show you now the hosting part of it. If you would host our activity. We already started with the asynchronous, but when you host any activity, hosting is for live activities. Assigning would be for those asynchronous activities. And let's walk through the asynchronous activities so that you can look at some of the features. You have the option to go with no deadline if you choose to. If you're assigning something for practice, you can just have, if you want students to practice those skills, you can keep it open the remainder of the semester, especially if it's a skill that students really need to work on. You can also set a start time if you want to and have it start at a specific day and time for that activity. And then after that time is over, students lose access to that particular activity. Some other things that you can do, you can turn on mastery mode. Mastery mode is a feature that allows students to have to continue to work on that particular quiz until they reach the accuracy level that you've set. And mastery is anywhere from 60% up to 100%. You decide. And within the mastery mode, you can decide if you want them to have unlimited attempts or maybe 2 reattempts per question, totally up to you. If you have mastery mode on, then you can have some of these other features such as, where is it? Skip and attempt later. So if with mastery mode on, there are some features that you can have access to, like redemption questions. You can only have that if mastery mode is off, or redemption quiz. If a student misses a quiz, they can reattempt it to improve accuracy. Same with questions. They can reattempt some of the questions that they got incorrect. So just wanted to call your attention to that. Going to the live or hosting. When we host live, we have classic and instructor pace, which is what this is. Let's go to classic. Within the classic, there are 4 different modes in Quizizz. We have the team mode, which means that students answer the questions individually, but their scores go together as a team. And Quizizz puts students on a team, so you don't have control over that. We also have Mastery Peak, which is another way for us to engage mastery mode for students to continue practicing on those skills until they attain mastery. And once again, you get to set the mastery level. And then, of course, our test mode. I know we have state tests coming up. So with test mode, we have some test-specific features like review and submit. We can turn this on and allow students to review their answers before they submit the quiz. We also can turn on focus mode, which allows us to be notified if our quiz is in one browser and a student opens up another browser. it will notify the teacher if you've turned on focus mode. Another thing that you have available for you is the skip questions and attempt later. And all of these features are designed to help reduce testing anxiety for students. So these are just some features that you have control over that you can enable. So I want to make sure that I haven't missed any questions. And moving on to our last couple of sections, and these are, I think, 1 or 2 questions each. Are there any questions? I know we've gone over quite a bit, so I want to ask you a question right now. What is one Quizizz feature that you want to, or most excited about, or will try immediately in your classroom? And this is done in a word cloud. So I know I've shown you a lot. And I know many of you were excited about the AI, but there are a lot of great features that are available that you have total control over. AI, I see AI, Laura, I totally understand. And so for the rest of you, if you're in the lesson, you can go ahead and answer this question, but we're going to continue moving on. AI as well, Daisy. Okay, I got it. So I think AI is the winner right now. So let's continue. AI and collaborative features, definitely, because you definitely want to work smarter and not harder. So let's see how you can continue learning after today. There are definitely ways that you can continue learning. And the first way is through Quizizz University. This is where you can get your professional learning, continue your professional learning journey. We have built-in resources, learning paths, on-demand resources that's available for you. And let me just let me open this in a new tab. Let me drop the link in the chat to Quizizz University. I'm also going to give you access to all of these resources. I'm going to share all of this with Ephraim tomorrow as a follow-up to this session. But just know you have access to Quizizz University if you're following along in the lesson, and you can manipulate that. Another resource that I've shared with you is some resources that are specific to the bootcamp. I've shared a HyperDoc resource for you. And this is, if you want to share this with other teachers, they can take the on-demand Quizizz bootcamp, I mean, not the bootcamp, but the Quizizz level 1 and level 2 educator. And I've given you a study guide for that. So this is a great resource that you can share with your teachers. I've also shared the Help Center information for you and ways that others can register for upcoming boot camps, or just go ahead and do the on-demand lesson study guide, and as well as the level 1 and level 2. This is the resource that I've created specifically for you. I'm going to share this with Ephraim. If you want to bookmark this, you have early access to it. I'm going to add the recording tomorrow, so you'll have access to the recording and be able to view the recording at your own pace. We also have a feedback form. I would love your feedback. Let me copy this. I would love your feedback on this document, and I have it in another form also, because we want to know how we can continue to improve and be able to support you better. We also have on this document what's new and coming soon in Quizizz, so you can stay up to date on the new features, and this is always updated. And then on unleashing and unlocking the possibilities with Quizizz. And these are just some district-specific resources that we have available that you will have access to. And I've even given more information on collaborating in Quizizz and AI in Quizizz. So I've tried to put together tons of resources for you so that you can continue learning. Just want to make sure you have access to everything that you need. And here is, let me go ahead and copy the link to this feedback form, and I'm going to put it in the chat. Definitely would love your feedback. And I think we have about 5 minutes left. Of course, I've already shared this information for how you can register for the upcoming boot camps, or really how you can go online to Quizizz University, and you can just sign up to take the on-demand level 2 school educator level 2. So we have all of that information, and that link is here as well to that page. And let me paste this in the chat. And with that, we are at the end. Let me take a look at this quiz. We have about 5 minutes left. So if you haven't finished the quiz, go ahead and finish the quiz. That's one thing that has to happen before we finish the session, if you haven't done so already. But I think the majority of you are done. Okay. Ephraim, no worries. I know you got this. Look, and I've also shared the link in that document so that you can do that on demand but I know it's all good. But for any educator that wants to do this on demand, you have 5 attempts for the on demand version of this quiz. I think there are 30 questions though in that on demand version, but it's open book. That's why I shared that hyperdoc as a study guide. So you can go back and look at the videos and the links, and you can retake it 5 times and no one ever has to know. So with that, are there any questions while we wait? We have 4 minutes left. So if there's anyone else, the others that still need to finish this quiz, you have about 4 minutes left. Or if you have any specific questions for me, something you want me to demo that I didn't address, just let me know. Let me take a look at the leaderboard as well. Let's see. So Coconut Caspian finished all 21 questions. Let's see. Salad Silver did as well. So for the rest of you, no worries. I will definitely send that asynchronous quiz link so you can do it at your own pace and you have those reattempts.
Thank you, Felicia. I dropped a survey link on the chat if the participants can fill that out. Man, my hands were sweating the whole time. That was interesting, but definitely learned a lot. Yeah, that was fun.
It was low pressure, no reason for your hands to be sweating.
I think it was that time, that little time
The
thing on
timer.
top. Yeah, the timer. I'm just like, it's going fast.
Let
But no, it was
me
fun.
stop the recording.